We got ourselves a Vinci on Team Blue. We also got ourselves Frosty playing the Frost DK. We got ourselves, who is that on the thing? Monk, Hugh, B-Blood, and Twisty. On Team Red, we got ourselves Acrylic Dog? Azila going out for us as a Demon Hunter. We got ourselves Shield Pills in the back. Ooh, changing into the Mog. I kind of like that. That looks good. We got Honk as well as you said. What? Ah. What's the priest? Who's the mage? Anybody know that one? Anybody remember that one? Metamorphosis coming out for Zilly off the bat as Frosty goes for Mortis Winter with a little bit of that AMS, interrupting that Cyclotronic even though he had AMS rolling. Don't really know if he needed to. Instant tricky coming out for Zilly. Still getting Cyclotronic Blast. Gonna be IBF actually. Yeah, IBF. Ooh, gripping Azilla back down from the clouds, dropping down darkness as Azilla is trying to tank up this damage as best it can against Frostleet. Frost needs to go for massive amount of heals as he's actually completely out of defenses as well. Going in for a little bit of a death pack, and it's actually burning all that healing through the Malady, but that's going to be second a Maladic on top of the original necrotics by Azilla. Frosty doesn't have a lot to heal with, needs to get himself transfusion immediately. Still trying to death strike through it. Did Azilla actually get that win? They don't even have metamorphosis anymore. Frosty getting hit with a stun, trinkets out of it, still continuing to hit death strike back to back, even going for that blood of rage to take anything buffs off of Azilla, but also give him a little bit of the running power, still continuing to get those death strikes. And it's going to go for a bit of a chain of ice kiting strat versus Azilla for a minute. With an AMS coming out in the open. Azilla just needs to get himself a shortest stun in the world into Frostleet and he'll be down for the count. Still, transfusion coming out. Azilla might be in trouble right now. This Death Knight gets some healing. You don't. You just get yourself into an IBM metamorphosis immediately. Blade Dance does forget to fly up in the air. Frostleet does not get to grip him down from the clouds. And it's going to take a couple of those fell lances to the face. Azilla found a way to equalize the situation for just a moment. Frosty still needs to get himself more runic power. Still waiting until he has a stun available. Does get a stun with the Crucible Tefora, and it's actually going to take down Frostleet. No, Call of Booty. Frostleet from Call of Booty couldn't quite handle with Azilla and the Demon Hunter strats. He did get a grip down once when he went up in the air. If he only got a second one of those, that would have been great. But that's where he fell behind. But I like him going for a massive amount of heals ASAP, honestly. Next up is gonna be Monk, playing Monk, named Monk. Oh, I like your weapons. That's from Siege of Orgrimmar, right? Drills. Drills. It actually looks like Azilla just trying to get a little bit of kiting spree going against Monk Cube. I am to follow as he is eating a touch of death. Will he go for a shot of melt? Karma to follow. Azilla might just actually have to get the hell out of there. Actually, just feeding to that Karma is gonna go for a bit of a bit of a backflip, confusing Monk as he drops down that ring in a random location, almost seemingly random. And Azilla finally getting to fly up, and they're actually getting away from Monk as the Karma's down. Got a couple of spell lances in there. The Monk does get to reset with a bit of a Vivify. Azilla, though, not out of the fight just yet. Cyclotronic to follow. Does get some freebie damage to the Monk, forcing him behind the pillar. Azilla, perfect opportunity for him to maybe get a blower up and running with an I-beam and get some healing back up. Does get a stun to Monk. Monk does have a trinket if things ever go bad. I-beam available, and Azilla does get a blower up and running into a leg sweep. Trinkets out of it immediately. Monk doesn't have a single defensive stun right now and does get cleaved. Oh no! Why is everybody using every defensive against Azilla? They're just running at him. Pop every defensive. It's like one of those guys that play the keyboard and they go rip up on the keys, just every cooldown, just in a single stroke of a finger. Aventure trying to see if he can lock down Azilla with a kidney shot. Double Crucible coming out to follow in the opener. This is going to have quite a bit of damage. Azilla took quite a lot. It's going to get a momentary blur with a bit of a retreat there. But it's still melting. Those dots are still doing work. I-beam to follow. Azilla got himself at least some healing rolling, getting quite value from all that leech. Maladic to follow by Avenger. I think he actually took down Azilla with that Maladic alone, trying to go for a Crucible heal kidney shot to follow. And Avenger got him. He did exactly the same strats Azilla did. Walk in, force every major needed defensive to deal with, and then kill him in the next stun. Acrylic Dog is going to be up next. Actually, right next to Vinci. I think you saw him for a second. Gets him out with the Phantom Knives. For the Rogue, to Phantom Knives and get a Feral out is more important than Feral swiping the Rogue out. Because the Feral needs that opener with the Ray. Actually, balanced Druid, Acrylic Dog. I was expecting the Feral, but it's going to go for some Lunar Strikes onto Adventure with the Solar Wrath to follow. Kid in the Shot is going to line up on him, and we're going to see a big defensive. Is that going to be Vendetta? Thorns are up. Does get a silence on Da Vinci. Has a Cloak of Shadows for the Thorns though, and that silence in case he was going to cast a spell ever. Acrylic Dog getting himself a renewal. Bark Skin is necessary here. This dog needs to get himself a Bark Skin. Bark? No? That. Oh, no Bark Skin. I was thinking it was a Feral. Acrylic Dog. I like that he started out with a Lunar Strike because, you know, back in the day, the original ability of, like, I think Starfire was current Lunar Strike, and that ability used to do a lot of damage back in Cataclysm. Ever since they made it a purely AoE ability, I've been so sad. It's actually a lot better just to solo wrap the target. And even then, boomies don't really do much damage unless a Star Surgeon and in-card. Honk is up next versus Vinci. Full kit in the shot to follow. Trinket coming out of Honk right now. Perfect opportunity for Vinci to maybe get some damage in. Honk not looking all that good himself, actually. Blind onto Vinci as he vanishes. Is that a good idea? Vinci still has a Trinket. Both of these guys have just went through their evasions 5 minutes in. Honk, again, something about Team Red. Like, or maybe Team Blue too. Some of them do this thing where they just pop every single defensive available. It's going to be cheap shot by Vinci for a second to get some dots on a Honk with a kidney shot to follow. Got some dots and he's looking to catch a reset. Smoke bomb to follow so he can be chased. Is going to get a throw knife at Honk, forcing him to use Crucibles defensively. So Honk is going to be able to survive all this damage. Got himself quite a bit of healing from it. And a bit of a concoction to follow. Next person to get a sap wins. Next person to get a sap wins. Vinci could go for a sap if he wanted to. Is it landed? Sap. Pen. Honk looked like whatever dots he had on him, like keeping him out of CC. Does eventually have another sap maybe? Kidney shot available? If he has a kidney, that could be the end. Got road into a kidney shot to follow. Get himself some dots up and running. Maledict onto Honk and looking to maybe go for a little bit more kiting. Honk trying to use a little bit of that Crucible healing. Not going to be able to keep himself load. Does get a concoction though, but that's just going to stop that Maledict healing prevention. Still has dots rolling. Phantom Knives. Cheap shot by Vinci. Honk, this is your one and only chance right here. Nope, shortest kidney in the world. And down he goes. Very unlucky, Honk. Very unlucky. But you played well. That was a hard one to come back from. Vinci, I've had 2 openers on you back-to-back. The second one with a Maledict. Like, one you're melting, the other you just mallied. You said what? Trying to give a little bit of a bow? A little bit of a... Ha-ha! Now that's going to be a nice honorable duel between 2 rogues. Throwing nice so we don't have to go for resets. Kidney shot is going to come out for Vinci, so he's going to land the opener. I like that. He's going to use that Crucible to get the damage rolling early on. You said what? You said what is going to first get his dots up and running up to Vinci before going for a kidney shot. Now it's his opportunity to go for some damage. 1 Crucible comes out. Second for a self-heal. Cloak of Shadows for you said what right now? Just to deal with a bit of that damage. Cloak of Shadows for Vinci as well. Both these rogues have evasion if things go bad. You said what? Activating his evasion. That's going to be a blind onto him. He has a trinket, has a blind of his own. And Vinci has a trinket and now no more blind. You said what? Needs to trinket the right ability here. He needs to trinket the right ability. Because he's super low on health. Go road, rupture, kidney shot, trinkets, and immediately turns around the kidney shot onto Vinci. Does get a trinket out of him. Blind! Oh, but you said what is still melting? Oh my god, Vinci probably shouldn't have trinketed that one because that actually is going to be a perfect setup for you. Said what? Now he got the advantage. Vinci still holding on to evasion. You said what has a vanish. Vinci also has a vanish. But you said what could have a vendetta. So without vanish, you won't be able to run anywhere. So eventually, the only thing he has an advantage. Oh, you said what? Wasn't able to get a full opener for that sap, and down it goes. That is so unlucky. I was expecting for that to be clean, but that's unlucky, man. Sometimes it breaks, sometimes it doesn't. That's why it's perfect not to go for a Garrote Rupture, unless if you're just not feeling super lucky about it. Chill Pills right there. Last man standing on Team Red. Looking to end Vinci, if possible, gripping him, yoinking him back in, trying to chain him down with a chain of ice. But Vinci did have a sprint and an honor town to keep him prevented from slows for a little bit of time while sprint goes up. MS to follow for Chill Pills right now, just to continue keeping Vinci next to him. Is he getting hit with a Vendetta? It's so hard to see because Vendetta, you gotta look for these special effects. You gotta do it for the skulls floating away, but Chill Pills got a bunch of things floating away from him. Does get to read dot and a grip back in onto Vinci, not letting the roll go anywhere. Vinci has evasion as a last measure. And he might just have to play with that evasion and do as much as he can. Stun to follow. That evasion is useless. Down he goes. Chill Pills does take down Vinci after he has wrecked everybody on Team Red. for the time that he's been alive. Blood is up next though, landing a killer shot on Chill Pills, looking for that sub-rogue damage, one-shot wombo combo, cheap shot to follow. Chill Pills does get himself Death Strike between those stuns, quite meaningful amount of healing. Because that's the most amount of damage that Blood has within the first 5 seconds. Last 5 seconds, you heal for a portion of that heal. Chill Pills gets it, increasing his own health with a trinket right now to at least stay alive a little bit longer. Going for that transfusion healing. Blood goes for a blind. Does Chill Pills trinket it? He might not even have it. Yo, Blood could actually end him. Chill Pills you'd use a trinket. That's why he's looking a little bit red to increase his own health pool. So once after that trinket dissipates, he's gonna have not that much health loss. Not as much health loss as I thought he would. He'll lose some health. Gonna be immediate Lichborn into a death pack for Chill Pills, just so he can get himself some healing or some health. And it's gonna get some damage rolling into Blood. Needs to get that damage to ramp up. That Remorseless Winter is gonna be very, very little tiptoey damage onto Blood. He's gonna use for a Cloak of Shadows and get himself a Crucible heal to follow, as Chill Pills was able to recover some health. AMS available. And Blood is gonna get away without any... Looks like he does have some sort of dot or some sort of damage ability on him that keeps him out of stealth. Chill Pills trying not to get sapped up if possible. Does get to hit him into Remorseless Winter. Blood is not going to be able to sap him. Chill Pills got in combat immediately. He's going to trinket out of the kidney shot with Transfusion to follow. Got himself Remorseless Winter, so it's going to be quite a bit amount of damage, even if he's in CC. Blood is now on his back toes, having to use Crucible defensively just to heal. And he's using Sprint, trying to get away from Chill Pills. Chain of Ice coming down. Couldn't quite make it around the corner without Sprint. Stun into Blood. He does trinket out of it into a cheap shot into Pills. It's going to be the shortest cheap shot ever. Blood has nothing left. Crucibles are the only thing that are trying to stave off the damage here. But he's completely out of bounds, and Chill Pills does end up as eliminating him. And it looks like Twisty is DC'd. No, that's so sad. No, Chill Pills, he would have come down. Oh, he's back! The boy's back! He's actually going to be the Frost DK versus Frost! The last duel of the century! 39% dampening. AMS coming out of Twisty in the opener, dropping down the massive breath by the airstrike of a dragon. Chill Pills turning around with a bit of a transfusion to follow. Twisty trying to maintain a bit of his damage right now. Is going for some damage of his own, so it's Chill Pills. Remorseless Switcher coming up for Pills. Twisty does not play Remorseless, but he's going to use it in part of his rotation. Lichborn for Chill Pills off of that stun. Transfusion for Twisty just to maintain himself a little bit longer. Chill Pills trying to keep the pressure afloat. Twisty getting himself hit with a death pack. Trinket out of that stun. He's actually necrotic down completely. Trying to heal through his necrotics. 42% dampening. Not going to allow you a lot of healing. Actually put himself in a bad situation. And down he goes. Very well played, Chill. Very well played, Twisty. Very well played, everybody. Yo, eventually went with a 4, dude. 4 people down. And then Chill Pills crawl back from the dead. Literally. I'm so sad for the you said what, dude. Him and Avicii had such a good duel, but then that Garrod auto attack broke the sap and then just slammed him with the kidney right after. So unfortunate.